What's good, YouTubers and YouTubettes? This is JBsports back again with another one. Are you ready for some boxing? Man, that old NFL song, the words, the beginning of that song was, are you ready for some football? We got boxing going on from daytime to nighttime. Reminds me of March Madness, college basketball. When you have games going on during the day all the way through the night. That's what we got going down in boxing. First order of business, Anthony Joshua, nicknamed AJ, taking on unified heavyweight champion Alexander Usyk in the rematch fight going down in the Middle East, Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. They call that facility the Jeddah Dome. And we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Now, Anthony Joshua needs to win this fight. If he doesn't win this fight, I got a question for this video. Is Anthony Joshua Alexander Usyk's opponent today? Is Anthony Joshua Frank Bruno 2.0? Because if he loses this fight, man, there's going to be a lot of comparison to him and Frank Bruno. You look at both guys looking like bodybuilders. Both guys have suspect chins. Both guys, when they fought on the elite level, came up short. Both guys were champion. I don't think many people remember that Frank Bruno was a world champion. When he lost to Mike Tyson, that was a unification fight. And he also lost to Lennox Lewis. But he was a good fighter, man. Good fighter, good fighter. He should definitely be in the UK Boxing Hall of Fame. And I don't think he's in the International Boxing Hall of Fame, but they have a Hall of Fame in the UK. He definitely is deserving. With all that being said, will Anthony Joshua beat Frank Bruno 2.0? And if he loses this fight today versus Alexander Usyk, that will be the comparison. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Now, I got some information in regards to Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua, win, lose, or draw today, will come back in December. And the most likely opponent will be Dillian the Can Man Whyte. You know that guy that got put to sleep like Tyson Fury gave him some NyQuil. Tyson Fury put him into another atmosphere. Got knocked out. But he's in a strong position, as not only Eddie Hearn is trying to sign him, but Frank Warren is trying to sign him, and Sky Sports is trying to sign him. So he's looking at the best offer. And AJ would definitely be the best offer, win, lose, or draw today versus Usyk. Now I'm hearing that Frank Warren is trying to line up a fight with Daniel Dubois to take on Dillian Whyte, but that will be for less money than a fight with AJ. You know, they could put that fight with AJ, which will take place in December. They could put that in Cardiff, in that stadium. You know, they have a retractable roof, which they're going to need during that time of the year. Sky Sports, you know, they got a few heavyweights and stuff like that, but they don't have the name that Eddie Hearn has or Frank Warren has. They don't have the biggest names. You know, like I say, AJ is the biggest name in UK boxing. Daniel Dubois is probably a top 5 as far as big name in the UK. So those two fights are better than anything that Sky Sports have to offer. But again, Dillian Whyte is in a strong position. He's in the proverbial catbird seats. He can leverage each promotional entity against each other, and he can get himself in a good position to make a whole lot of money in his next fight. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But don't be a bit surprised if you see Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte in December in Cardiff going down on the Zone pay-per-view. The rematch. As Dillian Whyte said a couple of days ago, that's the fight he most likely is seeking. If everything being equal, that's the fight he's chasing. Now, he brought up Daniel Dubois and Deontay Wilder, which is a pipe dream. He brought up a couple other names too, but he did say that Anthony Joshua is #1 on the hit list. So we will see what happens. And we will see what transpires. Now, as far as this matchup go, I got some last tidbits for this match as far as AJ. I like how AJ is going through this fight. He looked like he's got the right demeanor in this fight. I was watching how he was acting at the weigh-in. He was acting real aggravated, which I like. You know, I remember when we first came on stage, he was ready to take his shirt off and get on the scale, but he had to wait till Usyk get on stage, and he didn't seem to like that too much. He was very irritated by that. So I kind of like his demeanor, man. He's coming in there. I think he's going to come in there in a seek and destroy type of mindset. And I think even if he loses this fight, I think he's going to give a good account of himself, and that'll set the stage for him to have a big fight in December. So he has a lot of big fights on the horizon, even if he loses to Usyk. Now, if Usyk wins, I would suspect that Usyk will take care of his mandatory. He probably will take on the winner of George versus Joseph Parker. That's if Tyson Fury stays true to his word and stay retired. That'll be a likely matchup. And if AJ, after this fight, win, lose, or draw, I would suspect that he takes on Dillian Whyte next. A lot of people are clamoring for AJ to take on Wilder, win, lose, or draw. But as we know, Eddie Hearn and the PBC, which includes Stephen Espinosa, Al Heyman, Leonard Ellerbe, are mortal enemies. Basically, they do not like each other, they do not care for each other, and they're not going to do any business outside of a purse bid or something like that, or some kind of mandatory situation. I don't see them just voluntarily doing any kind of business with each other, man. It sounds good. It's been sounding good for the last 4 years, AJ versus Wilder, but we're no closer today than we were 4 or 5 years ago of that fight coming to fruition, due to the political divisions in the sport of boxing, and also due to the fact that Eddie Hearn is Biggie Smalls and the PBC is Tupac Shakur, man. They do not like each other. They do not care for each other. There's no love lost between each other, and it's like oil and water. So I don't see those two entities coming together to make a fight that's not going to be for no title, more than likely, unless Wilder gets the WBC belt. And if AJ wins his belt, like I said, if he wins his belt, he's taking on Dillian Whyte next. In all likelihood, it won't be for no title. It's not going to be a mandated fight, so I don't see any scenario where that fight comes to fruition. Down the line, maybe. AJ got one fight left before he calls it a day. Then maybe Matchroom Boxing puts him in there with Deontay Wilder, because that is a lucrative fight. But again, they don't want to put Anthony Joshua in there with a fighter from the PBC with him having a high probability or at least a 50-50 chance of losing. They don't want to do that. Eddie Hearn, that's a pill that he ain't going to be willing to swallow. You got to say, how you say you got to swallow that bitter pill you got to swallow. That's a pill that Eddie Hearn ain't willing to swallow at this moment in time. And the only time I think he will be willing to take that chance is at the very end of Anthony Joshua's career. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. Let me know your thoughts about AJ versus Usyk. AJ is going to come in, and I think he's going to have to impose his will, go to the body, land the left hand as a jabbing to set up the right hand, and do it early and often in that fight. He's going to have to be in a seek and destroy type of mindset. 1-2, left hand, right hand, left jab, right hand, left jab, right hand, close distance, go to the body, and get Usyk to cover up, get in the high guard, and then set the stage for his best weapon, the uppercut. Usyk got to continue to do what he does do, coming out of southpaw stance, jabbing, not only to the head, but to the body, doubling up on the jab, being the more technical fighter, using his legs, using his fundamentals, and using his tools that he has in the toolbox. A very strong fighter in all aspects. Really don't have too much of a weakness outside of he really don't like to get hit a lot. He seems to, I'm not saying he's got a glass jaw, but he does not like to get hit a lot. So he's a guy that if you can kind of try to impose your size, kind of like what Derek Chisora did, you can make Alexander Usyk very, very uncomfortable. Will AJ be willing to do that? That's a natural part of Derek Chisora's game. AJ, that doesn't come naturally to him, but it's going to have to come naturally to him today for him to get the victory. Seek and destroy, putting the pressure, imposing your size and will, and using your length advantage. And that comes down to using your jab to set up the right hand and constantly make Alexander Usyk have to reset. So we will see what happens, and we will see what transpires. But my prediction stands firm. I got Alexander Usyk stopping AJ in the 10th round. But I think AJ is coming to win. I don't think we're going to see the AJ that we saw in the first fight. I think we're going to see the AJ that fought Pulev. I think many people overlooking that fight. AJ actually fought a very, very good fight against Pulev. And I think we see that fight more than we see the first Usyk fight as far as aggressiveness and as far as putting punches together by Anthony Joshua. Let me know your thoughts. Follow me on Facebook, Gerard.Briscoe.3551. Like, share, and subscribe to JB Sports. The man, the myth, the legend. And I holla.